Hi guys, and welcome to Mindset for Meaning. If you like the videos, please feel free to give them a like, and also if you want to be notified when the next videos are released, please subscribe and share the channel with anyone else who you think may also enjoy the path that we are on. Apologies that the video is not quite on time. I know you've been waiting and your days have been put on hold before you could do anything else. You've been waiting for this video so eagerly that you have probably had to stop everything, and no, but seriously, I wanted to get these out more regularly. It's been a hectic few days, so yeah, it's a little later than I'd hoped. So yeah, last time we spoke about the fear-based environment, and I left with 3 mind nuggets, which are going towards developing this mindset. So we're trying to develop a mindset which is going to have lots of various pieces, almost like a jigsaw puzzle. And the first video we talked about setting the overall tone, the overall picture, which was just wanting the best. That's the long-term view. You know, this is linked into the long-term view, wanting the best for the best in you, the best in the people around you. And then the second video last time we spoke about this fear-based culture, fear-based environments, and what we can do to take some control ourselves, and how we can slowly manage those things ourselves, and how we can better influence the environment around us to help our day. And so the 3 things that were left from last time, the 3 tools, were completing any tasks or responsibilities to the best of your ability or our ability, on time, and become the expert. The second one was asking the question, how can I help? And the third one was, can you help me understand? And those 3 were kind of tackling different situations in work, in the workplace or in the home environment or in any environment that you find yourself in, you know, trying to tackle 3 different scenarios. Now, I'm actually going to go through them in reverse. The final one, help me understand. I haven't really had the opportunity to use that. Because I'm actually in a transition period. Sounds so cliche, but what's actually happening is my current projects are finished, and I'm in the process of changing location, and so I haven't been in a work environment really, and I haven't really had any opportunities to use "Can you help me understand?" in my daily life. So I have used it in the past in work, and I have used it and I know it works. I just know it works. But it's one that's kind of infrequent. You tend not to get an opportunity to use that one so often. And I've never had a negative experience of using it. In fact, I wish I'd discovered it earlier. I used to get frustrated with things, and when things weren't going how I thought they should go, or the things we spoke about last week. So yeah, I'll shelve that one for now. Like I say, I have used it in the past and I do know it works. Very useful tool to have, and it certainly helps build relationships. The other one, how can I help? I use that all the time. Honestly, I use it all the time. When I'm at home, I use it as a phrase when someone's doing something. Maybe someone's cooking dinner, maybe someone's doing some housework, maybe someone is struggling with a task, or they're just working on something. So that one, I've been using it a lot. I really like it. I've caught myself saying a few times, can I help? Or do you need help? And then I'm like, no, that's not what I want to say. I want to say, how can I help? So yeah, that one has been working good. No negative experiences of that one, none. And then the final one I want to look at is the doing the tasks as best you can, doing those tasks like an expert, doing them on time, or even doing them before they're even asked for, or submitting them before they're even asked for, before they're due, doing them as quick, you know, in a time frame that's beyond what is expected. This has been something that's been a failing of mine in the past. I kind of, where does it come from? I'm very keen, overly keen. I want to be involved in everything. And not because I'm nosy, but because I really have this inner push, drive, force that wants to feel like I'm doing something, feel like I'm adding value, feel like I can be part of the big picture. You know, I like to do important things, and I'm kind of like, oh, that looks interesting, can I be involved in that? And this looks interesting, can I be involved in this? And this is much more interesting, this interests me much more than what I've been given to do. And so I tend to get very keen, really enthusiastic about getting involved, and that's in there. But unfortunately for me, you know, in the past it's manifested itself in me thinking that some of the tasks that I've been asked to do are beneath me. I'm not overqualified, but it's like anyone that I know can do this. Why am I being asked to do this? And my attitude hasn't been right in those situations in the past. And I've really sabotaged myself with things like this in the past. And it's negatively influenced some relationships in workplaces. Because I haven't harnessed the inner drive to do something well, to be part of the bigger picture. I've managed to harness it correctly, and it's ended up showing itself in frustration. And so that's where it's gone wrong for me in the past, and that's where I haven't applied it very well at all. And okay, I haven't had the opportunity to apply it in the last 10 days, but I absolutely have suffered at the hands of this in the past. And but I also know, again, the reason I recommended that I was going to try and use it again, and we should try and use it again, is because I know it works. Because when I have done it, it opens up a whole world of trust. And I know that in the last few years, through the work that I've been doing as a consultant, and I just get the task, get on with it. When I've got the information I need, once there's nothing holding me back, just get on with it. I do it. I try to do it as best I can. I always push myself with early time limits. I say, well, no, I'm going to have it done by this. And maybe I set myself up for a fail, but I push myself. I want to change expectations. I don't want low expectations of myself. I set the bar a bit higher for myself each time. It's really driven me on, and it really changes. It really helps to create a different impression. You know, it really helps to show that people can rely on you, and show that you are someone that can be trusted with these tasks that you've been given. And it's the birth of responsibility. It's the birth of ownership, and really taking a hold of something and saying, this is mine. Okay, I've got it. I might be capable of more, but I'm going to show you that I can do this, and I'm going to show you that I can do this really well, and maybe I can help train someone else, and maybe you know, I can say, well, look, I've learned how to do this really well. Is there someone else in the team who you think would benefit from knowing how to do this as well? And then that then frees you up. It frees you up to then also start putting yourself forward. Once you've shown that you can be trusted and are reliable, that you can then start asking for a bit more responsibility. So yeah, it's certainly a mixed bag there of my results. But again, I keep saying this is only my third video, but it's important to not just throw things out there and expect it to be done and never really reflect on it, because then it just becomes words. They're just words. If I'm putting things out there and I can't speak from my experience, or I can't say, well, I tried it and here's how it went for me, as much as some things like that happen, this is more of a meditation, which are just words. There's also, if there's a practical element, then it's got to be tried on for size, and with some consistency, and trying to build it slowly into a habit. And only with practice is it going to become part of a habit, because practice makes permanent. So yeah, and like, where did I want to go with this? I mean, I mentioned, I reviewed my video last time, and I mentioned quite a few topics. Oh, we'll talk about that. It's going to be a video one day, and that will be a video one day. There's quite a lot of them. But I guess it's kind of important just to take a step back a little bit and I want to remind myself why it was important to zero in on 3 tools, and why they help developing this mindset for meaning. And it's not if I say, okay, I want to do these, I want to try and apply these 3 things, because that then means this, and that then means this. Or why am I doing these things? What does that mean? Why am I doing them? It's the wrong question. It's a question, but it's the wrong question. And it took me a long time to figure this stuff out. It's the wrong question. That's when you can get frustrated, or that's when I can get really frustrated with things, when you lose sight, when you think, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? It's the wrong question. See, the real question is almost the complete opposite. Rather than saying, well, why am I doing this? Well, I'm doing this because this, and that means this, and that means this, and ultimately it means this. It's a long process to go through, and it can be useful. But flip it. I know the kind of person, the kind of man I want to be. Full stop. I know the kind of man I want to be at work. I know the kind of man, and the kind of man I want to be with my friends, the kind of man I want to be with my family, the kind of man I want to be on the streets. It's taken me a long time to work out the kind of man I want to be. I am by no means there yet. The work will continue. There's always work to do, always. It would be dangerous. I would be in a dangerous place if I thought I'd sussed it all out. I've been around for a while, but not that long. And so I know the kind of man I want to be. I know the kind of man I'm aiming to be. And a really big part of that is to be a positive impact in the environment around me. Put something positive on the world. Be a net positive for myself and for the people around me. So that's where I'm aiming at. And so in order to do that, it's like, well, okay, that's at the core. That's the core. That's the long-term view. That's the direction I'm headed. To be a net positive. And for me, to be a net positive, what that means is to be of service, to do what I can to contribute to other people, to grow a little each day, and to what's the right word? To strive towards fulfillment. No, not strive towards fulfillment. To contribute to something bigger than myself. To give, to be of service. That's at the core. And to grow, not stagnate, to grow a little bit each day. Become the strongest version of myself, a little each day. And those two things are at the core of me. I don't want to stagnate, for sure. And as much as I'm perfectly capable of being what about me, I strive to be of service. And I've always wanted to be of service. One thing that I have got in me, one of my strengths, is that I want to help. Do what I can to help. And so that's where I'm going. That's the kind of man I want to be. And so there's the core. And it's like, okay, well, if that's how I want to be, what does that mean? Well, if I want to be that kind of man, that's going to have to manifest itself. And that means that I can then make someone else's day more positive. It means I can help bring a sense of positivity to the people I encounter. For example, that's what that means. And it's like, well, what does that mean? That's what that means. How do I do it? And one way to do it is to ask certain questions, like, how can I help? Or here, look, I did this. I've done it. There you go. I know it's early, but there you go. And someone will go, oh, great, thanks. I didn't even have to ask. I've made their day a bit better. I've made their day a bit easier. And so it's actually bringing it from the goal, the core out, not trying to get into the core from why am I doing this? Well, that means that this, and then getting in. It's like, no. Here's where I'm going with this. Here's who I want to be. Here's how I want to be. Here's the kind of man I want to be in the world. And that then means if I am like that, that is then going to have these implications for the people around me, for my work, for my family, for my friends, for my health, for my habits and my routines. And when I say I want to grow, like, how do I want to grow? Do I want to grow my mind? How am I going to grow my mind? How am I going to grow my body? How am I going to grow my spirit? What does that mean? And it's like, okay, well, that means that I'm going to look at my nutrition. It means I'm going to look at my sleep routine. It means I'm going to look at my exercise patterns, how I recover, how I relax, what I do for my mind. Do I meditate? What I do with my breath work? All these things. It's like, okay, that's the impact it's going to have. What small behaviors can I then take charge of that I know are nested inside this core, nested inside this big long-term vision? That's why the original question is the wrong question. It's not, why am I doing this? You already know. And this is the start. This is not the start. This is the overall idea about meaning. It's not like we're having a movie and I'm telling you the end already, or the book and put the end of, let's read the end of the book first. It's not like that. But basically, It's how we lose a sense of meaning and we don't know why we're doing what we're doing. What does it mean? Well, something only means something in context. Yeah? There's a context there. Now, sometimes something feels right and you know it means something, you know it's meaningful. And you don't know the context, but it feels right. But that's because your perceptive systems have picked up that what you're doing is right for something inside you. It's a feeling. And that's why ultimately meaning really comes from, does what you're doing feel right? And the reason it will feel right is if it's in context. And the real way to put it in context is to say, well, this feels right. I know why I'm going to bed at 10 and getting up at 6. I know why. And you start to do it. You're not doing it because it's happening, because it's just a manifestation of, I've decided that that's how I want to be in the world. That's how I want to feel. That's how I want to be. And for me, what will work for me to feel like that is this behavior. And it sounds quite obvious, but I think next time, if I know that, for me, when I've lost my sense of what the hell am I doing this for, it's been because I've lost the context. I've forgotten almost. I've lost touch with who I want to be and how I want to be. I've lost touch with it. And so, again, this comes down to me taking control. Who do I want to be? How do I want to be? How do I want to feel when I move through my day? How do I want to feel about who I'm going to be next week, next year? What am I striving for? What am I aiming at? How do I want to feel on a daily basis? And then how can I then start to take charge of the various modes in my life, like I mentioned about my health and my mind and my spirit and all these, in my work, all these things that these different accounts, I'm an accountant, these different accounts that we have to monitor. Our work account, our family account, our loved ones account, our health account, our mind account, spiritual account, all these things that you have to manage. And they look different for everyone. But the principle is interesting. The principle is simply, how do I want these to be? How do I really want to feel about these? And then, okay, what can I do? What's the smallest big thing that I can do to make a positive impact that will take me towards that will sit inside the track of where I'm heading? Whereas if there is no destination, if there is no goal, if there is no sense of, well, who do I want to be? I haven't asked that question. Then I can be going any way I want. I can be going that way or that way. And I won't know if I'm going in the right direction. I won't know if this means something. I won't know why I'm doing this. I won't have any context with which to set it. I won't be able to catch myself and say, don't ask that question. You need to reframe this. Remember, get back in touch with who I want to be. And the reason, again, that I like those 3 little ways of from last week's video is it does 2 things. It allows you to take responsibility, and it allows you to take charge of doing what No, it allows me to take charge of what I can to build trust in relationships. In any relationship I have, in the workplace or at home, or with my friends, or with people I interact with on a daily basis. Any kind of interaction. So yeah, it's basically about taking back control, taking real ownership of anything that's been given to you, but also taking ownership of where you're going, who you want to be, what kind of person you really want to be, what really sits well with you, how do you really want to feel, taking some ownership of that, saying, okay, well, how can I move in that direction? What small behaviors can I do that I know are taking me in that direction? Sure, you'll find bumps, and sure, you might change your mind a little bit, but ultimately things will just start to feel better because you will have recontextualized them. And so it's important to build trust, because ultimately fear-based cultures, fear-based environments, there's a lack of trust. You know, you've got micromanagers who check everything. It's because they don't, and whether or not they trust you, they don't. But whether or not they say they do, you don't feel trusted because they're checking everything you do. They might as well do it themselves. But people who want to be CC'd in on all the emails. Again, if you want someone to do a task and you want to show them that you trust them, stop checking on them. Review, sure. But there's a difference between reviewing something, having a different set of eyes look at something, scanning something, having a process, and actually just checking every step and looking for mistakes. And so the one thing that these fear-based environments lack is trust. And I spoke about this in the previous videos, that once the trust is gone, people don't trust each other, and you start looking out for yourself, and then when we start looking out for ourselves, we get this erosion of the tribe. We stop looking out for each other. We stop banding together. We stop. I've got your back, you've got mine. I'll do it. How can I help you? Someone will say, how can I help you? And you get this interaction. You feel supported and you feel strong. And if you're struggling with someone, you can ask someone. You know that no one's going to try and trip you up just because you made a mistake. And ultimately you start to, this lack of trust is a real issue. And again, I spoke about this before. Where does it come from? Where does it start? Why is it there? It can also be the seed of empathy, trying to step into someone else's shoes and understand why they may be treating you like that. We're not trying to work out just so you can judge them for it. Maybe there's something going on there that we don't know. But so it's a really difficult, no, I don't want to say it's really difficult. My mind's racing a little bit today. It's an important task. It's an important endeavour or undertaking to decide, to think about, reflect on, investigate, interrogate yourself, introspection, all these words that basically mean look inside and ask how you want to be. Who do you want to be? How do you want people to look at you and work? What do you want them to think about you? How do you want your friends to think about you? Who do you want to be? And then say, okay, well, if I want to be happy and strong, or I want to be a leader, or I want to be, I want to feel light and content every day. I want to feel at peace every day. It's different. Everyone's going to have different answers for these. And then it's like, okay, well, what areas of my life do I need to look at? What accounts in my life do I need to look at? What accounts do I have in my life? I have my health account, I have my family account, like I said before. Say, okay, well, what can I do in each of these? If I know that that's how I want to be, what can I do in each of these to take me in that direction, to take me a small step in that direction from where I am now to where I'm going? And this is not about the pursuit of happiness. There's nothing wrong with happiness. This is not the pursuit of happiness. This is not trying to get happy or be happy. This is something deeper. Happiness comes and goes, sadness comes and goes. And so this is something deeper. This is about meaning. And like I say, meaning is a feeling. And sometimes we get these situations where we do something and it just feels right. You've got to listen to that. But sometimes the meaning comes from, you know who you want to be and why you're doing it. So you know why you're not eating the fast food and you're cooking yourself a home meal. You already know why. It's just part of what you're trying to achieve and who you want to be in this world, and how who you want to be will be affected by your nutrition. And so I've kind of gone on a bit of a spiral today. I haven't really got anywhere I thought it might go. But again, you know, it's not about me sitting here and just going off on some rant about fear-based cultures and lack of trust, and just a moan. I want to empower myself, and I want this to be something that I can work through in my own head. And you're sitting here listening to this, and it's me just trying to work it out in my head. As almost I'm talking to a camera, like I would talk to someone if I was just doing a talking meditation. They were sitting here listening to me, and so once I noticed a real shift when I started to really look inside about who I wanted to be, what kind of man I wanted to be. And I then started to understand the different accounts in my life and which ones I hadn't paid much attention to, which ones I was paying too much attention to, which ones had too much in them and the other ones were depleted because of it. What I could do to then redress the balance and have a balanced set of books, balance the books, and then what that needs for me, how that manifests in my daily life, what I need to do, what behaviors I need to do to take control. And I noticed that once I made that shift, my interactions are just are better. They were good, but they're just so much better. People notice. People have noticed. I've had comments. You seem so bright. You seem so... what do? You just seem so positive each day. What, you know, you seem so driven. What are you doing? And it's not that I have any secret formula. It's not that I have any magic formula. It's not that I am faking it, you know. I have spent quite a bit of time doing the inner work, and I do this every day. I do spend time doing inner work to continually check in where I'm going and who I want to be, and that just has meant that I've developed some habits and routines for my day. What time I wake up, what I do in the morning before I do anything else, how I start my day, when I have my first nutrition, what I break my fast with each day, how I exercise, and all these things. And it just feels right. But it takes some time. And I'm nowhere near the finished article yet, that's for sure. But I'm heading in the right direction, and each day I do get better and better, a little bit better each day. Doesn't mean to say I don't have down days. Doesn't mean to say I don't have bad days. I've had some horrendous days. But the overall path is up. The overall path is up, and things that used to affect me really badly now affect me less badly. Now that's terrible English, but it ultimately is progress. It still affects me, just not as much. I still have my idiosyncrasies. I still have my flaws. Flaws? No. I still have my, what you would call, I still have my shadow traits. But everything is moving in the right direction. So I get a grip of things faster. I can reframe things better. I understand and accept things more. And I'm very positive about the direction things are moving. And what it ultimately does is, I mean, I've been told quite a few times, even before I really started to look inside, that I have natural leadership qualities and a natural teacher. But I've been told this quite a lot recently, and it's ultimately simply because I've gone through this process. Because there's two different types of leadership, obviously. You've got leadership by status, by rank, by job title. And you've also got leadership qualities, which everyone has. And because leadership implies you're out in front, you're in the lead, but it also implies that there are people behind you following you. You're in the lead and they're following you. It doesn't mean to say you have to be their boss, because a leader and a boss are two very different things. I've written something on not on Instagram, got rid of Instagram a long time ago, on LinkedIn. There's very big differences between bosses and leaders, and I don't really want to go down that rabbit hole today. It's an important conversation. And again, you tend to get people who are bosses, who operate out of fear for whatever reason. lack of trust, bossiness, as opposed to leaders who are out in front. But very simply, a leader faces the challenge first. A leader takes the negativity first. If a leader is in the lead, is out in front with the followers behind, and they go and face the enemy first. They don't let it get through to their tribe. And if you've got everyone who has that attitude of, I'll take this on, you get a united front as opposed to one person out in front. So leadership qualities are, once you start to take ownership of things that you did wrong, taking ownership of your tasks, taking ownership of your responsibilities, you're not laying any blame at anyone else's feet. It doesn't mean to say other people don't play a role in things going wrong. What it means is you're not interested in that. You're saying, well, I can't do anything about that, really. What I'm interested in is, what can I fix? What can I do? What's my box of control? What can I bring inside me? What can I control? What can I do something about? And you almost, it then really feels like, okay, well, I know I didn't do that right. Or I know I could have done that better. I know it was a bit late, like this video. I know there was an oversight on that. I didn't quite have my checks and balances in place. And once you start to do that, it kind of, you feel better. And then you can do it for the people around you. Say you had an interaction, say, like in one of my recent projects I had as a consultant, I would often be the final set of eyes on something, a report, say, that went out. And if that report went out and there was something on it that was missed, something on it there was maybe a small error, or something that I necessarily don't have to review because I'm just a reviewer, I'm not there to check every step, that's something that I don't have to review, but it's gone through me and it's pointed out. I mean, I've never done this, but it's not like you then go back to them, you come back and say, well, it wasn't me that missed it, they prepared it, they made a mistake, it just means I'm gonna have to check everything now. No, it's like, I didn't spot it, it was my fault, I should have spotted that, it's my mistake, I'll fix it, I'll deal with it. And so it's about, you take the negative, you put it on your shoulders, you take responsibility for the negative things, you take responsibility for errors, you take responsibility for things that don't go to plan, you take responsibility for things that don't go the way they should. You take that. And then you praise that comes, you say, it wasn't me, I just sent it out, they did the hard work, they put all the hard work into it. And you pass on the praise, you pass on the positive, you take the idea of lifting someone else up, nurturing them, and that's what leaders do. Leaders don't take the pats on the back. Leaders say, it wasn't me, it was my troops, my team, my tribe, they did it. They're my strength. They're behind me. Yes, I'm here, but they're my strength. They're behind me, they've got my back. And it's them that did the hard work. Or it's them that did all this. It was them, I didn't do anything really. It wasn't me. They did the hard work, that recognition, that positivity, that nurturing attitude, that willingness to want the best for other people, to lift them up. That's what leaders do. That's what real leaders do. And you don't need a status position to do that. We can all do that. You can do it at home, you can do it in your teams, you can do it with your friends, you can do it in work. You don't have to be the boss. You don't have to be a manager. You don't have to have a position of seniority. We can all do that. We can do that together. And when you do, like I said before, you get this united front. You all band together because you're a tribe at the end of the day, united by a common thread of working in the same place. And you become a unit who've got to start to get each other's backs, you know? And it doesn't mean that you can't reflect on what you did well, but you're not looking to take the praise. It doesn't mean to say that you can't recognize that, okay, that went wrong, I took responsibility for it, but I also need to tackle what went wrong lower down the chain. Maybe how can we as a team make sure it doesn't happen again? You know, when you start those conversations, and those conversations are tricky to start, but they come out well, you know. And again, it comes from a position of just saying, well, I didn't spot this. How can we help each other so we kind of don't, you know, make such a thing happen again, or how can we try and stop this happening again, and how can you help me so I don't make this mistake again, and those kind of things. But those, I mean, they're very situation specific. It's very difficult to just sit here and go through a whole list of examples. But yeah, whereas a boss is the opposite. You know, a boss will take praise and they'll pass blame and they'll finger point and they'll all these things that I don't want to go down that rabbit hole today. I've already spent longer on it than I thought I would when I said I didn't want to talk about it. So the goal is to unite the tribe, not by a rallying cry, not by some motivational speech, not by things that feel great, you know, and they sound good and they have a short-term impact, but by something deeper. And it's that sense of unity, and that comes from the things that I've already spoken about. Understand who you want to be, understand the kind of person you want to be, why, and what you can do, what we can do in those situations, what you can strive for in those situations that will help you move in that direction, that just balance with the core of who you are and who your core wants to, how that core wants to feel. And yeah, building those relationships, one small step at a time. One small step at a time. How to build trust, take ownership, be responsible, and then help those around, support, nurture. And so what I'm going to try this week, and I've got to be honest, this one does come quite naturally for me. It does come quite naturally for me. It is something that is what I would say is one of my strengths. Doesn't mean to say I do it all the time, always. But it's I'm going to be cognizant of passing on praise and taking blame. And I don't mean becoming a martyr. I don't mean saying, oh, it was my fault. That's not what it means. Like, no, you've got to be honest with yourself. I've got to genuinely take responsibility for the things that I could have done better. It's not about faking it with yourself, faking it with the people around you, because you know you're being fake. People around you will know it's nonsense. But if what you say actually, okay, you know, this is down on me because I could have made sure that I had planned better, or I had communicated better. My instructions were clearer. I was more thorough in my review. My expectations were set out clearer. All these things that you could do that you can take responsibility for if something doesn't quite go how it should. And so, again, like I say, it's one of my strengths, but I don't always get it right. And it's something that I'm still getting better at. So that's the mind nugget for today. The mind nugget today is pass on praise. Sincere praise. Look, that went really well because you did this. That was great. That was good. That worked because you did this. And it's an actual recognition. And again, it's not fake. You will start to show people that you're paying attention to what they're doing. And once you praise something with genuine attention, it creates the likelihood of it happening again, or it increases the likelihood of it happening again. So pass on praise. Pass it on. Genuine praise. And take ownership of negativity. Take ownership of negative outcomes. Pass on positive outcomes to the team, to your tribe. Pass on the positive outcomes to your tribe. Attribute it to them and what they've done specifically, so they know that you appreciate and you've noticed you've noticed these things happening, and that I appreciate it. I've noticed it, and it's something that I appreciate and admire, and thank you. And things that don't go well, take ownership for your role in that. Take ownership for what could I have done that would have made that less likely to happen. So that's the challenge, and that's the ongoing challenge. So now, you know, we're building the overall tone of wanting the best. We've got these 3 mind nuggets from last time, which is do something as best as you can, on time or even sooner, become the master at it, strive to be the master. How can I help? Help me understand. And now we're going to look at lifting people up and nurturing them a bit more. Pay a bit more attention. Or when something does go right, what did they do? What do I know that they did that made that happen? And it might... No, my mouth is moving too fast for my brain then. Yeah. Pass on the praise. And take ownership of things. Take ownership of your role when something doesn't go right. What could you have done better? Take that. Don't pass on any blame. You be the stopgap. You be the one you be the barrier to that. You be the raincoat. You be the shield. That's a leadership quality that can be developed, it can be grown, it can be practiced. Be the shield for the tribe behind. And if you do that for them, they might start doing it for you. Might not happen overnight, but then it becomes well, I know he's got my back. I know I messed up there and he took that. So I know I'm going to do that for him too. Or she really has my back. I'm going to make sure that, then they do it for me. And I know the kind of person I want to be. So I'm going to make sure I do it for them too. And you start to build trust. You start to build reliance on people. You start to build a stronger sense of community and a stronger tribe. And you start to get the sense that you're all heading in the same direction. That's very powerful. So yeah, that's the mind nugget for today. Pass on the praise, be specific with it as much as you can, and be the shield. Be the shield for anything negative. Take it. You be the raincoat, you be the barrier. And nurture your team, nurture your colleagues, nurture your tribes. Yeah. It was a bit messy today. My mind was jumping around a lot, I noticed. I've almost got too many thoughts about this. I'm trying to keep my videos short when there's already 56 minutes gone. So, yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for staying with me on this. Sorry once again, that this is late. I allowed myself to get a bit distracted with some other tasks that I had to do, that I could have managed my tasks a bit better. So yes, the next video I'll be recording in a few days. So until then, thank you for joining me. Again, feel free to share. Please subscribe and like the videos. Subscribe to the channel. And thank you for being with me on the path. And take care, guys, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.